Today we are gonna talk about some voice phishing groups and focus more on the malicious apps used by the groups called secret calls. My name is Sojun Yu and this is Youngjae Sin who is speaking with me. We are from SW, a cybersecurity startup in South Korea. Although Youngjae is with a different company now, we have been tracking voice phishing groups together for the past 2 years. This session can be seen as an extension of the presentation when voice phishing met malicious Android app at Black Asia 2019. Voice phishing crimes have been identified in South Korea since 2006 and they are still occurring today. Their goal is to extort money and they'll do anything to get it. As it is money-making business, more people are doing it. More South Koreans are also performing these attacks and move abroad and run operations there. Here are statistics for voice phishing victimization. As you can see, the number of victims and the amount damaged peaked in 2019 and then dropped significantly. This is likely due to the nature of these attacks, where the group members work together in physical offices and the impact of COVID-19. Of course, there was a lot of credit to the active investigation from law enforcement agencies. However, despite this effort, the damage increased again last year after the pandemic ended. The increase in the amount of money despite the decrease in the number of victims means that the damage per victim has increased. This means that voice phishing groups extort the maximum amount of money from their victim through various methods such as taking out additional loan. What about by attack type? In Korea, we usually divide them into 3 main categories: messenger phishing, fake runs for repayment, and institutional impersonation. If you look at this, you'll see an increasing number of attacks that involve runs for repayment and impersonation in institutions. Because impersonating law enforcement gives the attacker complete control over the victim's cycles, it is on the rise. So how exactly are voice phishing groups organized and how do they carry out their attacks? The structure of a voice phishing group is more complex than you might think. The leader is usually based overseas and the separate body under him operates in South Korea. This is the structure of the so-called Minjun's group arrested in 2022. The call center is first frontline, making calls and conducting voice phishing attacks on a large number of people with personal information. The administration department is responsible for recruiting and managing people. There are roles for withdrawing the extorted money from the target, exchanging money, and managing bank account and laundering the extorted money by converting it into gift cards, luxury items, and gaming tokens, etc. Voice phishing groups can collaborate with teams responsible for each role without directly operating on IT department. They can work together with a SIM-box operator who converts international number to Korean number with teams that acquire personal information databases, develop malicious apps, and build internet phones. Let's take a look at the actual content of the smishing. For law enforcement impersonation cases, they send photos disguised as an official document about the case, along with a message saying that the registration has been returned and request contact them with a specified number. Once people call, the call centers start their attack scenario. In this case, the scam SMS disguised as a Korean internet bank and used keywords such as last minute, special offer, first come first served in the text with the intention of tracking targets. Honestly, when I first received the SMS, I seriously considered calling them. The interest rate on my loan at the time was 6%. Here are some attack scenarios including loans for repayment and impersonation of institution, all of which start with a smishing or direct call. In loans for repayment, the groups try to convince the target to take out a government-backed loan. Then they demand a fee for the loan if the target responds. In other cases, the other member of the pose as an employee of an existing lender and extort money by telling them it's a breach of contract and you need to pay a fine. In the case of impersonation with institutions, the groups often impersonate law enforcement and regulatory agencies. They then threaten the target's account has been involved in a crime, and there will be consequences if they don't cooperate with the investigation. To improve their credibility, they utilize fake sites that resemble law enforcement and display pages that look like real official letters to pressure targets. Then they extort cash for the investigation purposes or to protect their funds. In case 1, they trick the target into downloading a malicious APK through a messenger account posing as law enforcement. They then persuade the target to make the call themselves, which is forwarded to another member of the group using forwarding feature supported by the APK. Case 2 uses a combination of both of the previous two methods. They first scale them with fake document, and second, they encourage them to call the institutions after installing the APK. Each stage in this diagram is progressively darker in color from top to bottom, indicating that the target will be more and more psychologically controlled by the attacker. We'll cover the call forwarding in more later. This demo shows two similar impersonation cases. The attack flow is shown below. In this video, they originally spoken in Korean, but I used AI to dub it into English.
Yes, are you Mr. XX?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm calling from the Detective Division of Gangseo Police Station, and I am Inspector Hyunju Han.
Yes.
I am contacting you regarding a witness inquiry related to the Financial Transaction Act violation. I am wondering if you'd mind speaking with me for a moment.
Yes, tell me about it.
Recently, we arrested a woman in her 40s named Lee Ji-yeon, who is the main suspect in prostitution and financial violations charges, at a studio located in Seoulyeong, Gangnam-gu, Seoul. And I was wondering if you knew her.
Investigation, I will visually show you any official documents issued in your name or transactions from the bank account that have been used. Are you able to view these on your phone through Naver right now?
Yes.
Yes, you know the address bar, not the search bar on Naver, right?
Yes.
Please delete all of that, including the www. Have you ever heard of the term embargo?
Like a publication ban?
Yes, it's a term used by media outlets to mean a publication ban until a certain point in time, right? Within the prosecutor's office, we commonly refer to ongoing investigations as embargoed. This case is also under investigation due to concerns about accomplices fleeing or concealing criminal funds. Therefore, I will inform you using the internal IP of the prosecutor's office. I will read it out to you. Number 61.227.then70.next33.
Well, would you or someone you know recognize at a glance that this is a scam? It would be hard for normal people to tell. The attacker is getting more sophisticated. Now let's look at the infrastructure used by the voice phishing attacks. The malicious infrastructure is available as SaaS from providers. Our operator groups pay the provider to get the phishing site, and they are given an admin panel to control the devices infected by the APK. Providers are building malware infrastructure and phishing site. We identified and lead 3 providers using the Supreme Pro Security Office theme as an example. They have built pages that are identical to the Reddit-made site. The purpose of this site is to trick the target into accessing their site and redirect them to a fake case inquiry page to convince them that the real investigation is underway. All of this site is for under case 2 of the attack scenario, and each provider distributes their own malicious app with the call forwarding feature. Among them, provider A impersonate Supreme Prosecutor and Seoul District Prosecutor's Office. And the KISA, the IPs used for their phishing site, all belong to AS3462. The site shows fake official letters and search warrants to trick targets. These sites are not directly distributing APKs, but are assessed to be distributing the secret group family from same infrastructure. Next, provider B impersonate the Seoul Southern District Prosecutor's Office. Their infrastructure mostly belong to AS3462 and use 4 documents. They distribute the secret group family on the same infrastructure. Provider C differs from other providers, with most of its infrastructure falling under AS133199. They use the Supreme Prosecutor's Office theme and use 3 documents. They distribute the Markov family from same site. After the target enters their personal information on the phishing site, they are presented with this fake document. It is enough to scare the target because it mentions the case number, the target's name, and severity of the incident, even though older version of the seal is used. These fake arrests won't cause panic because the words are very unfamiliar and scary to the average person. Provider B and C use bank statement. These statements contain randomized transactions that the target doesn't recognize. Provider B also shows an NDA document. This prevents the target from disclosing the situation to their acquaintance. All of these providers have a history of distributing a malicious app disguised as voice phishing detection app called for anti-spy. Connecting to the IP provided by the attacker will lead the target to a fake Play Store page as follows. This app called Police Cyber Cop, and the site looks very similar to the real Play Store page, with the same title, description, ratings, and excluding the captured area. This app is called Phishing Eyes. Some of the content is outdated, but it's made to look real enough to deceive the average person. Ironically, both of these apps are distributed from police for detecting voice phishing attacks. However, snaky attackers are using these themes in reverse and exploiting them in attack scenarios. That's the overall approach of voice phishing groups operating in South Korea. And Youngjae will give you a detailed analysis of the secret code family. Thank you.
Now, I will talk about secret code family. According to the statistics from 2019, campaign using for APK in financial fraud, them is 10 times higher than those without. And this highlights the inclination of voice phishing groups using APK. There's some reason to using APK in voice phishing campaigns. Take control of a phone and allow them to send photos and personal information stored inside. And manage victims by monitoring, and redirect the call to their call center to gain full psychological status. However, secret code has more advanced features than typical voice phishing application. Here are notable features of secret calls. They employ various methods to threaten user or defend their app from being analyzed. And now I will introduce these features one by one. When we met the secret calls, there are some problems to handle it. Typically, the APK file format is similar to a zip file. Secret call modified the specific header in the zip format to obstruct being analyzed. Firstly, it used a bad zip compression, manipulating the compression method to beyond the typical value 8. Secondly, it manipulates the timestamp. If the timestamp exceeds a feasible range, it becomes impossible with analysis or some compression program. We can handle this problem by modifying the value manually or using open source tool. The secret code comprises two file structure, external and internal, and we call them as loader and secret code respectively. Secret code is located within the loader, and all of them have encrypted class file for performing malicious activities, as well as phishing resource is deceived user. Let me show you how secret code has various file structure for each type. For the first, the secret code has extension of APK, and phishing resource is compressed the requiring password with the SG extension. And the password here is a Korean profanity. Second, when the phishing resource is raw data, and the APK is separated into being compressed, the password is the same. Third, both of them are raw data. Secret code is in the form of APK when phishing resources are in the resource area. I showed you the structure of secret codes. One of the key components of secret code is encrypt class file. The encrypt class file is verbose, loader, and secret call. It's decrypt and load into memory before code execution. And their name is changed throughout our tracking, specifically secret, kill, and bulk. For sure, bulk is not my typo. Until April 2023, secret was used for class file. Until October, they developed the kill. And from October onwards, both of bulk and secret were used for class file. And each name of class file is different for saving their key and native library. We can compare the full features of whole history interchange for their class file. We have also observed a change decryption key for class file. The interesting is for the past 3 years, the only AES algorithm has been used to encrypt it. And the only key value and initial vector is changed. It is also remarkable. In the networking, secret call used 2 web protocols, WebSocket and HTTP when communicating with CNC server. The request body contains the infect device status, including app ID field. It indicates the request type. And data relies on the value of app ID. It is hard-coded in the source code. It might be version of secret calls or some target which they disguise as. When secret call sends the data to the CNC, there's a unique prefix in front of transmit data. Currently, the prefix with A plus timestamp accompany user data with encryption, whereas in the past, it used keyword of postbar. And the endpoint of CNC server is decided by request type. There are up to 13 possible paths, and each path consists of a maximum 5 characters, mixing letters and numbers. For the result of request, the CNC responds with config for malicious activities such as call forwarding. Because receiving config from the server, secret call collects various information for malicious activities. For example, a list of phone numbers to call redirection or blocking, a server address only for uploading images, and ready profile to get extra CNC server, and etc. When the user makes a legitimate call using their infect device, the call will be canceled and new call created soon to attacker. It is fooling user into thinking they are making a legitimate call when they are actually connecting with voice phishing group's call center. The new call screen resembles to the original, and the user is actually looking at the fake screen, but the call to their call center is running in the background. If secret call can't communicate with CNC server, does it halt execution? Actually, the secret call tries to retrieve backup CNC from a certain ready profile when the CNC server is not available. If the extra changes or go offline, it is updated accordingly on the site. And secret call typically use Firebase to receive command from the CNC. When the adversary sends some command from this Firebase, events for malicious activities are triggered in secret calls, initiating another data extortion or determining some CNC endpoint or whatever they want to do. The secret call monitor user by using commercial service called as Jupun. Jupun is a service for streaming video and audio to connect to some others who want to talk with you. It's like a software for making a phone call. The infect device by secret call can stream camera and audio in real time using the authentication of the adversary. So user has infect device can be exposed their privacy and whatever they do. And you find out the custom-made application utilizing Jupun. When adversary type user ID into this application, it is ready for watching. This monitoring program could make device run camera and microphone for monitoring. And we discovered this custom-made application when the adversary uploaded their phishing site inadvertently. As I do say, we are tracking secret code for 2 years. And now I will talk about how we can analyze it such a long time. And some slide is only for attendee in this podium. Let me show you. We have collected over the 64,000 secret calls and we categorize into over the 15. The categories include the law enforcement, e-commerce, and courier service, and banks, and video players, and among others. Over the 50% of secret calls masqueraded as law enforcement, while over the 20% impersonated financial institute like banks. If we analyze for each, the number of secret calls is about 60 to analyze for a day. Due to the sheer volume of secret calls, the manual analysis becomes impractical. We have to find and necessitate the efficient way. We analyze the secret call's behavior based on some criteria, and we find some pattern for each type of secret calls: binary patterns, or Reddit profile, a native library, and CNC server, and their phone number, and how to decrypt the class file. We can consider 2 stages of a process to analyze it. The thing is extractor for static information in secret calls. When we extract the information from secret calls, we can request the malicious config to CNC server. And this process called as communicator. This made us a complete automated process to analyze it, obtaining a new information about adversary, like CNC server, Reddit profile, and phone numbers, and some IOCs, and etc. Finally, we have analyzed over the 99% of secret call automatically. We find out more than 130 of CNC server. We discovered that most of the origin were in Hong Kong and Japan, and most of another is in Asia. And we get over the 25 Reddit profile, and it allowed us to continuously discover new CNC. We got some phone numbers used by voice-phishing group. Most of the number is used in Korean, but some of the number stand for China. It is used in China Unicom. It might be means that the adversary might be Chinese or based on China, we thought. And this is our key takeaways. This is what I want to say for this. We presume the attackers are proficient in Korean and have their roots in East Asia. Throughout research, we aim to eradicate the phishing campaigns and raise awareness through the IOC and track their infrastructure continuously by our automation process. Here's a list of IP for phishing site operated by each voice phishing group. And this is the hash and CNC of secret call with different Reddit profile for each other. We didn't say everything we want to say. You can check rest of them in our white paper later. I would appreciate if you have any question, and thank you for listening our presentation.
Is there any question? Okay, thank you for listening. Yeah. Oh, here is one question. Yeah, and one more.
So,
Yeah, you can first.
Sorry, I just have one question. I noticed that you're saying that the number of victims has gone down, but the value has gone up. I'm just curious whether you did a correlation on the age of the victims. That means in the old days, the spread of the victims is, okay, so what I'm trying to drive at is, perhaps the number of victims went down because the population as a whole has sort of aged. And usually, the bad guys usually target the old guy, right? So I don't know whether you all do this kind of correlation, and it could be because the older guys are also perhaps more resource, you got a little bit more resource, So they target the older people with higher resource, and therefore, when the victims suffer damages, they'll be higher. So just curious.
Could you
You
repeat the
understand where I'm
words
coming
again?
from? Did you understand my question? That means you have a slide, right?
Yeah.
That says that number of, you will have 50,000 over victims last time. Then you say that
Yeah.
the per victim, how much they suffer in terms of damage, vis-a-vis recently, the per victim losses or the amount of money lost is higher per victim. So do you manage to do a correlationship in terms of victim age?
The number of APKs we collected means it's not or distinct.
It's not organized by age, huh? Age. How old are you? Young and old.
No, I think age is not important.
It's not one of the
thing
data
for that.
points, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm driving at. I mean, if you perhaps do that, maybe it will occur that the number of victims actually were more older.
Yeah. We didn't put the slide in this presentation. According to the article, the younger 20 generation is and the 50s the voice phishing group's major target because they don't have enough society experience. Yeah, and as we said, they impersonate law enforcement, so they are very very unfamiliar with the lower wording. So yeah, it's especially the 20s girls, women are major target as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Good presentation.
Thank you.
So everyone can hear the question as well. How did you guys build your automation in order to analyze the APKs and feed it into your database? Did you use Python or AI or how?
Yeah, we written the script with in Python, and we extract the characteristics and encryption key with manually analysis using Python code. So we emulated the behavior of the secret group family in the code, and we secured the phone number and SYN server and Reddit URL from thanks to the script. Yeah.